Hello, friend. I'd like to share with you a little bit. You know, my motto is life is meant to be good, and it is meant to be good. But in a sense, we are all living that allegory in the Bible where we have eaten of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, or good and less than good. And therefore, we live in a world where there is good and less than good, or good and evil. There is right and wrong. There is love and hate. There is truth and untruth. There are all of these different polarities, if you will. And that we have to make the choice. We have two selves. We have a limited self, we could say, which is our humanness, our physical being. We have a body, it bleeds. We have a body, it hurts. It can hurt emotionally through our feeling nature. The body is temporal, and a lot of these things that move through us are all temporal because we live in a world of form. But there is the other dimension of us, which is not limited, but unlimited, and it is of spirit and of truth. And we are to be understanding the contrast in this world in which we live so that we can listen to that part of ourselves which is the higher nature, not the lower nature, but the higher nature, which is at the core of every soul, that is able to distinguish then good versus evil, or good versus less than good. That basically by feeling the pain and the suffering and the feeling of separation and what have you, you begin to awaken and gravitate towards the choices that allow you to feel the sacredness of being. That's a process. And being in the physical world, which is a temporal world, because everything is shifting and changing, we have to move to the part of us that has permanency. As a spiritual being, at our core, we are love and light, joy and peace. And so we want to remember that part of ourselves as opposed to noticing the other side of polarity, which feels so foreign and apart to our true nature. It's a choice. It's always a choice. I came across a piece of writing, or actually a quote that I recognize was done by research by Robert Brummett, a colleague of mine, in writing his book, Birthing a Greater Reality. And this quote is actually from 500 years ago by Giovanni Pico della Mirandola. He's Italian. But he writes this quote as if God is speaking this to us. It goes like this: "You who are confined by no limits shall determine for yourself your own nature, in accordance with your own free will, in whose hand I have placed you. I have set you at the center of the world, so that from there you may more easily survey whatever is in the world. We have made you neither earthly nor heavenly, neither mortal nor immortal, so that more freely and more honorably, the molder and maker of yourself, you may fashion yourself in whatever form you shall prefer. You shall be able to descend among the lower forms of being, which are brute beasts. You shall be able to be reborn out of the judgment of your own soul into the higher beings, which are divine." And so we may fashion ourselves, is what is being said here, whatever form we shall prefer. Based on contrast, we should know that we make the choice to move to that which truly feels so natural and right and good, that we feel connected to the core of our being, as opposed to that which feels so foreign. And so at this time in our world, and at all times, there are things that are happening where choices are there to be made. And will we move with resentment and hatred and bitterness and separation and division, or will we move with truth, which sees beyond form actually, and recognizes that there's a part of us that is of a higher nature, and sees somehow beyond it, and trusts that that which is at the core of every soul that is in this this world, realizing the polarity that says, this doesn't feel right, therefore my higher nature needs to be making choices that move me back to unity, oneness, love, goodness, that I partake of that in the choice of this tree of eating of either good or evil, good or less than good. So life is full of choices, and I hold for you, as I do for me, that in the midst of all that is happening in an external world, we do not lose ourselves, lose our higher nature, our ability to choose for the light and the love and the goodness. Blessing, my friends.